Welcome back, Insanely Awesome Musicians. In this video, we're going to talk about public relations. And we have actually an entire bonus module in this course about public relations. But I want to kind of mention it here because, again, it is a way to drive traffic to your online universe. So it's something to consider. Now, a few points I want to bring up about public relations. And again, if you're really interested, please go to the other module and we'll kind of get into some more details there. But number one, it really is a great way, especially for musicians, because, again, you got to think about public relations. You obviously stands for it's press. Basically, you want to get on TV shows, newspapers, articles. Music and musicians make a great story. So that's something that is really good for public relations, or something that works really well for musicians. Now, the thing to understand about PR is that it takes a while to kind of get the ball rolling. So it's something you have to commit to probably for 6 months to a year and keep doing. Again, get your high level strategy put together and just implement. Every week or every month, just do a certain amount of things that will kind of move you towards getting on the TV show or shows of your dreams, magazines, newspapers, those type of things. The next point is that to start out, it actually does work better in smaller markets. So if you're in a small market where they have a television station or even obviously there's a lot of newspapers still around in smaller markets, it's easier to kind of break in there. You can use that I've been in this newspaper to start working your way up the food chain to bigger and bigger papers. So again, if you live in a big metro market, not a big deal. You just have to kind of work harder at it, but it does work better, at least starting in smaller markets. The next thing I want to mention is that the way public relations work is that you're gonna, let's say you get on a TV show that has a pretty good audience, you're gonna get a very quick spike of interest in you. So you have to be ready for that. And I've talked about this in other videos where you have to have your back end built out. Just because you're on TV doesn't mean that's gonna do anything for your career necessarily unless you capture all that attention. And again, remember, the attention is going to come really quick and it's going to go away really quick as well. The cycle we live in, the news cycle we live in our modern world is, it's getting shorter and shorter, where there's got to be a new story every few days, or else people lose interest. And if you think about it, the media, CNN always comes to mind. They're a business too, and they're looking to make money, and they know what makes money is this kind of constant attention on something. So something will become a big deal, a big scandal or whatever, and usually things that are kind of negative and scandalous, that's what tends to get people's attention. And then it'll go away really quickly and it'll be replaced by something else. So whatever that big issue was they were making such a big deal of, they don't talk about it anymore and it just kind of went away. So similarly, if you're that story at the moment, that's gonna be you, and then boom, it's gonna kind of go away. I think one of the biggest examples of this in the music industry is shows like American Idol, where people that went on there, a lot of them were kind of, they were very talented, but didn't really have a lot, like any business end on their music at all. They just kind of did it for a hobby, and then boom, they kind of, got on American Idol and made it maybe to the top 10 or something. Those are the people that you never hear of again because they didn't take that one opportunity and really capture it and take advantage of it. So, having all your back-end stuff built out, your email capture system, where to send people, your splash pages, your website, all those things are mandatory before you put a lot of effort into PR. Certainly you can build them together if you like, but don't really push the PR button, so to speak, very hard until this back-end stuff is built out. Just like, we've talked about in the YouTube videos, you can do YouTube videos and you can get a bunch of attention on YouTube, but if you don't have anywhere to send those people, it's kind of a waste of time. So similarly, think of getting on a TV show as like a really, souped up YouTube video that you've done where you've got a bunch of views all of a sudden. That's kind of how it works. So make sure you have that ready to go. And don't be like the people on American Idol who get that opportunity and then there's there's nowhere to capture it and it just kind of fades away. And the last point I'd like to mention, which is really, really important with public relations, is that as a music artist, I'll be honest, it is a little difficult to get attention of the media as just an artist. That's why I've continued to encourage you throughout this course to think outside the box and have other ways that you're doing it. Now, I talk about writing a book in one of the videos here in this module. Now, a lot of people, would say, oh, writing a book, I'm a musician, why would I do that? But there's a lot of great things you get out of that. And one is that it can help boost your public relations, because if you're a published author and a musician, let's say you have a certain cause you're really into, or a unique story, or something you've written a book about, now the person who's sitting at that desk deciding what stories to put on is like, this is a lot more interesting. I've got a person who's written this book, they're a musician. Wow, this is really cool. Versus just another musician who's trying to get famous or get on TV. One personal example is my daughter used to be part of a. They were students, but they would perform locally. It was a rock band, and they would perform locally at venues. Every few months. Every maybe 2 to 3 months they would have a performance, and the person who ran that I guess class or program, his son actually had autism, and it was fairly severe autism, but he was able to actually sing one song really well. So during their shows they would have him come up and do one song, and now that is what caught our local Channel 9 News in Washington D.C., which is a pretty big deal. It's a huge viewership. That caught their attention, and that entire group was able to get on TV and have a segment there because of this link with autism and a unique story of these student performers who do shows, yet they have an autistic child as part of their group that performs. So again, while I'll be honest, he wasn't really that closely aligned with autism. It wasn't like a major cause of his. It certainly was a cause because of his son, and he'd always had kind of autism as part of even the shows, but it really wasn't like the major focus. Yet that is what got him on the news. So you kind of have to have a spin or something unique, a cause you're into, a unique story. I do some public speaking, and I know one of the jokes in the public speaking world is that to be a really popular motivational speaker, you have to either have lost an arm or a leg. And again, while it's we joke about it, if you think about it, someone who's unfortunately gone through a tragedy and survived, and now they're a speaker, that is so much more compelling because you're watching this person do it. You're like, wow, if they can do it, I can do it. So now it adds a unique twist versus just someone who's like, well, yet another person who wants to be a motivational speaker. So similarly, when you're trying to get press as a musician, if you're quote unquote just another musician out there trying to get press, it's a little difficult. And while I think musicians are awesome, and I have nothing against being just a musician, if you really want to get press, you have to kind of take it to the next level and really kind of spin it in a unique way. So that's the last point I'd like to leave you with on public relations. I think it's very important. I think it's something that's really, really works well in the music industry, and it can give you a huge, very quick shot of traffic to your online universe. But again, as I've talked about, your universe has to be ready to accept that traffic. And it can be difficult and it takes time, but if you're persistent with this over time, it really can work. And what I'll do is I'll share a link below for some specialists that actually work in public relations that can help you if this is an area you really want to pursue further. And on that note as well, I would say public relations agencies I would really probably stay away from as an independent entrepreneur, solo musician type of thing. You really need a bigger budget for that, and these people can be very expensive, and there's no guaranteed results. And if you don't really know what you're doing, you don't know this world, you can get taken advantage of really easily. So the thing I would recommend is more of a DIY, do-it-yourself public relations effort if that's something you're interested in. And I've got some links that I can share with you of people that will help you do it yourself. They'll guide you through it, but you're going to be doing the work, and that way you kind of understand how this works. You'll get better at it, and over time, if you just kind of keep up with it, you will start getting some press out of this, especially if you have that kind of unique story or something aside from just your music. So again, look into this. I think it's a great area. It honestly is probably not for everybody. It does take some time and effort, but the rewards down the road are really, really, really good if you can do this properly.